So welcome to District 4, to the point, with information and news. I am your host, A-Love. So we're going to talk about financial literacy. I'm just going to break in here really quick, give you guys some quick tips on a little bonus. I'm going to give you the bonus at the beginning, and then we're going to talk about some taxes. We're going to talk a little bit about stimulus checks, because that's the big thing that we're talking about in finance right now. And then a little bit about the Federal Reserves coming up and what they have plans to do. Let's start with my little tip first, because I just heard this is very interesting to me. I did get this information from somebody that works at the credit bureaus. So I love to give this information when I'm able to get at it and just regurgitate it, because basically I'm just getting it from them. This is not me saying this. Interesting thing, remember this year when you start rebuilding your credit, or it starts over. Now, it doesn't really start over. I like to use the correct terms, but what it does is it gives you the opportunity to have another 12 months to have a whole bunch of other stuff improve your credit or either make it worse, right? So one of the things that I learned in speaking with this woman, it was a lady, that if you pay your car payment in 2 payments, it improves your credit. Now, everybody's normally, I say your payment's $500. I don't know what everybody's car payment is, but let's just say you have a car payment, it's $500. You generally wait and pay the $500. This is not the best way to do it for your credit. The best way to do it for your credit is to, when you get one payment, you pay $250. In the same month, you pay another payment in $250. So that equals your total $5. And you're like, well, why not pay it in, just the $500? But think about it from a credit's perspective, and this is how she breaks it down. It looks like, right, you're making not only on-time payments, but you're making several of them consistently instead of one big payment consistently. So it kind of gives you points, I guess, a way to look at it, as far as the credit bureau is looking at your payment history. And how you're using your credit, and you're doing it efficiently because it's smart to do it that way, according to the credit bureaus. So just something to consider, just a little food for thought. If you're making your payment anyway, split it up and pay it in 2 payments. You're going to have to make it regardless, but it's good, especially if you're new to credit and you're building credit, or you don't normally have credit. There's a lot of cash people in this world now. But if you want to use that as like your main thing to be building your credit, you can do that and pay those 2 payments, and you'll be building your credit a little bit better than you would if you were just paying it in one. All right, if you have any questions or comments, even if you fact check, go right ahead. You can call any credit bureau and just ask them that question, and I'll tell you. All right, or explain it in more detail. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about taxes. We have new tax brackets. And I hate to have to say this, because sometimes a difference of 1% to 2%, it does make a difference in your taxes. This is the IRS talking. I did not do this. I'm just letting you know ahead of time before you pay your taxes where you're going to be standing this year. So we're talking about your annual income. So your annual income, if you are $11,925 to be exact, you're 10%. You're in the 10% bracket. You jump all the way to 12% if you are in the $11,927, for lack of a better description, and all the way up to 478. Now that's a pretty big jump for people that are around 12,000 a year. You're going from 10% to 12%, so it's pretty large. And then 22% if you're 48,475 to 100,000 and 103,335, jumps to 24% at 103,035 to 197,300, 32% from 197,300 all the way to 255,225, and then 35% if you make 536,000 or more, which is probably really making some people mad. Because that's quite, the jumps are, these percentages, they make a difference if you're right there on the line, by the difference of just, 50 to 100, bucks even. So it's kind of disheartening to look at that you would end up paying that much more. I'm looking more at the 2% with the people that go from 10 to 2%, from 10% to 12%. I mean, it's kind of a jump, but that's what it is. So I mean, you can talk to the IRS if you have a problem with that, but that's what it's going to be, and it's coming, and it's implemented this tax season coming up. Okay, so that's 2025. That's 2025. And then from there, we have stimulus checks. Now you're like, what? Stimulus checks. Some of you were like, stimulus checks? Like, isn't that over? In 2021. So let's just say during the pandemic, 2021, there was, maybe 2020, there was speculation that there was going to be more stimulus checks. Well, as we find out that they should have been paid, because on your tax return for 2021, many of you probably don't even remember this or didn't even notice it was supposed to be there. There was a space there for that, to put down if you were due a stimulus check but didn't get it, didn't receive this final stimulus check. Well, not without sensibilities. Many people, I'll say some did, but many people did not mark this area on their tax return for 2021. Because, first of all, it wasn't very clear. The IRS did not make that clear. It wasn't something that was widely known necessarily by the public, and it was missed by a lot of people. But have no fear, because here's the great part about this. They caught it. They, meaning the IRS. So what they did was they're going to start going back and looking at the space in everybody's 2021, or the people that qualified 2021's area for the stimulus. If you did not mark it, if you did not receive it, they're going to give it to you. Upwards of $14,000 at its max. I'm sorry, $1,400 at its max. I wish it was $14,000. $1,400 at its max, and they will give it to you the same way. You don't have to do anything. They're going to give it to you the same way you would have received your tax return for 2021. So if it was via your bank account, then they will do it via your bank account. If you got a check, then you will receive a check. So I'm happy to report that all those myths about that stimulus check were not false. That everybody in financial literacy was like, stimulus checks are coming, and everybody kept looking at us like, stimulus checks? There's no stimulus checks. They're over. That was actually accurate information, but just not known to the public on how to actually apply to get that stimulus check that they never did get. And then I want to talk, now this is a little bit of financial literacy, but it isn't financial literacy. It's kind of going off a little bit because it talks about the price of this particular bag. And you know what I'm going to say. If anybody shops at Walmart, I'm going to say the Birkin bags. Widely popular, exclusive, very expensive bags are now at Walmart for a reasonable price. Now, I don't know what the price is. I know the Birkin bags can get upwards to $100,000. I mean, if you're really collecting these things, average on about $25,000 to $50,000 if you're just getting just a regular bag. It can be less than that, but usually not under the doubles when you're coming to the thousands. Now, here's the interesting part. You're like, first of all, this is making a lot of people that use this bag as a status symbol angry. This always happens when they give a high-priced, exclusive, item, status symbol item, like to the commoners, to regular people, in a place like Walmart, where anybody can just go in there and purchase it. But here's an interesting part of the story, and this is why I wanted to report on this. Originally, a part of the Birkin bag's price came from the fact that the company itself donates to charity. Now, I don't know if a lot of you know that, but a lot of people, the earlier inner circle of these bags, the nonprofit people, were well aware that this particular bag became widely purchased by people that were in the nonprofit world. Now, of course, it went into being a status symbol, and all of these things happen. But the originator of this bag, her name was Karen, I believe. Oh, no, her name is Jane Birkin. Jane Birkin designed the bag and wanted the bag to go to the masses. She wanted it to be a quality bag for a cheaper price. And it didn't work out that way. But Walmart sort of reinforced the original thought process for the behind the bag before it became what it ended up becoming. So it's worth it. I mean, if you want to really just have that bag and you're just really serious about, there's not a lot of differences. I won't tell that lie. Okay, the news is reporting there's not a lot of differences between the Walmart bag and the actual Birkin, status symbol bag, but there are. But it's still a very good bag. It's from the actual company, so you're not lying or buying a knockoff. You're buying just a lesser version of the bag that has been made popular over time. So next time you're in Walmart, go look at them. If you have a real one, if you have one of the older ones, go back and look at the status symbol ones and see if you can find some. I personally think if you can get the same style and it's just as nice or equally as fashionable, and that's what you were looking for to have that bag for, that it's worth it for you to pay less. Why pay more when you don't have to? All right. Thank you so much. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I like to save money. What am I going to say? Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you, while it's still there, look at my TikTok. But I want you more to click the notification bell so you can check for my lives. Okay? Thank you so much, you guys. Good luck in 2025. I'll see you guys next time.